All right. The aggressive pursuit of improvement. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely. So like I was saying, I hadn't really given any thought to the words until, you know what I'm saying, we got off the phone. I was like, all right, let me look at these words he's using, because we give words meaning in
Right.
all aspects, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't know what words mean until somebody tells us what they mean. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's where we go from dealing with the surface or going deeper into the etymology of words and like what builds the word up into what it means. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, aggressive pursuit of self-improvement. So
Right.
then I was like, aggressive, you know, I went to Webster's dictionary on it. So to attack or to confront,
Right.
pursuing one's aims forcefully,
Right.
right? Pursuit, the action of following someone or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. And then improve or improvement, make or become better, the act of improvement. And then improvement actually coincides with empowerment.
Right.
And then I put next to that confidence in consciousness. You know what I'm saying? So you confident in what you're conscious of.
Right.
You feel me? Because really, whenever you're thinking about something, everything is relevant at the time that it's relevant. It's not relevant all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's that entropy. That's that, you know, not needing all the information at one time. You know what I'm saying? Like some shit is like disregarded. You know what I'm saying? You don't need it. It's not relevant.
Right.
So then I was like relevant or in relation to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is.
Just in the same shit. So then I was like, okay, pursuit. And then something led me to knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know what I'm saying?
Always.
Because the confidence comes from knowledge. If you don't know something, so I was like, okay, what makes me aggressively pursue things? You know what I'm saying? If I could be defining myself as somebody who is in the aggressive pursuit of self-improvement, I'm like an unyielding curiosity.
Right.
And then to the side of that, I put not afraid of the unknown, because you gotta not be. That's what curiosity is. It's kind of delving into the unknown and trying to figure it out. And then I put, I'm listening.
Yeah, hold on real quick, because what's so crazy is when you say that right there. Now, when you're looking at, like you said, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is always present, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to hold that thought where you about to go, because we're gonna keep going on that. But right there is a good thing to say, because when you say knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, for me, I use knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and then on the left and the right side of knowledge, wisdom, understanding is two more things. To me, is science and math, right? On the left side is science and math, and on the right side is science and math. So people say, well, what does that mean? Because knowledge, wisdom, understanding is the pyramid. That's the 1, 2, 3, right? That's you know what I'm saying? When you say that's three-dimensional, knowledge, wisdom, understanding is three-dimensional. Anything you can see or understand is going to come through knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? So on the left side of it is science and math. Science and math is how you discover knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? And then on the right side of it, science and math is then how you're going to use knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So it's crazy, because that pyramid right there, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because knowledge and wisdom, and then understanding. But if you say, what's knowledge? Knowledge is to know. Wisdom is to know why, right? And then the understanding. No, knowledge is to know. Understanding is to know why, and then wisdom is the application. So if you get in science and math, you start with your science and math, and then knowledge and wisdom, and understanding open up, right? And once it open up, now, how do you control this information? How do you control what you know? You control it with science and math, right? So right there, when you were saying that, that's key, because knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is the pyramid. That's in the middle. That's the foundation of everything. But yeah, go ahead with you were saying I think you was
that's exactly where I was at with it, because next to the unyielding curiosity or not afraid of the unknown, I put cycles, and then I put scientific method.
Yeah, that's see, right? It's on the left and the right side of it, right? Because how do you get knowledge, wisdom, understanding? Through science and math. If you don't understand the parameters of existence, then knowledge and wisdom and understanding, you can't unlock it. But then once you unlock it, now how do you wield it? You wield it with science and math. right? So
Because the scientific method is testing,
right,
a
right,
hypothesis, and
right,
then you have to come, to a modification of that hypothesis based on the results. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So
right,
that's where you have to have an unyielding or undying curiosity to actually go through that process constantly.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
right,
Because you're gonna constantly be presented with shit that you have to test against, whatever the fuck it is from your experience. So going a little
right,
bit further, I went and looked at knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So one of the definitions for understanding is the ability to understand something, comprehension,
right.
and then it says individual perception or judgment, right? And
Okay.
then it also has the power of abstract thought, intellect. So I'm like, okay, so understanding is the culmination, because if you look at it, it's the culmination of all the stuff that you have for your personal experience from your subjective perspective. It's your understanding, and it's the birthplace of ideas. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right,
Understanding is the birthplace of ideas based on these definitions I just read. That's what I got.
right,
Because that's where, once you got to understand something, then you can start creating. Then you can
right,
start saying, well, what if I try this? Or what if I try
right,
that? And then the scientific method comes into play, because you're
right,
actually venturing out
right,
into something that isn't the
right.
norm,
See,
right? So,
now what right there, now right there, that's what I'm saying. Now, when I say this, I'm not saying, people talk religious or things of that. But I won't even say religious, but when people talk about God, they, people have monopolized how you view God. But when I say God, I'm not meaning no specific deity or no specific nothing. So I'm saying when people say that as God, I say science and math is the hands of God. These is the hands of God, right? Because like you're saying right there, if once I got knowledge and wisdom, or I got understanding, I got all this three prong, right? Now when I go to school, when I go to create something, when I go to do it, I'm going to do it through science and math. Those are the hands of God. So if I unveil knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, these are the hands of God. And so then when I go to use knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, they're the hands of God. Maybe over time, maybe we could find another term to say the hands of God, but I just say the hands of God. But that's just, that's not saying,
yeah,
you get what I'm
I'm
saying?
picking up what you're putting down. It's
Right,
all
right,
good.
right, right, right. It's not, I'm just saying that that's the actual apparatus you're going to use to manipulate knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is science and math. Like you say, the scientific method. So once I understand something, now I got to go apply it. But what are you going to use to apply it? You're going to use
Well, that's
science
what
and
I'm
math.
saying.
Yeah,
Look at
right,
it this
right,
way. If understanding is the, I don't know, let's say the first tier, then let's look at knowledge. I looked up
right,
the definitions for knowledge. So knowledge is facts, information, and skills acquired by a person through experience or education,
right,
theoretical or practical understanding of a subject, right?
right,
So if understanding is the beginning or the birthplace of ideas, because once you have an understanding of things, then you can try different things, right? Knowledge is the facts and information and the skills acquired from those trying different things. You know what I'm saying? The experience of
right,
trying different things, you'll gain knowledge. Well, this works, this don't work. If I do this, I know this is the
right,
result. You can use other
right,
people's trials and tribulations, as reference points too for your understanding. But all that accrues into knowledge, right?
right,
So if that's tier 2, then wisdom, the quality. This is what I looked up: the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. And I was
right,
like, damn, good judgment. Judgment is different. That's a different judgment is different, right? So
right,
I'm like, what the fuck is judgment? So I'm like, judgment is basically when you judge something. Let's say if you're judging a dog show, you know what the standard is, and you're
right,
looking for what's lacking, what's
right,
missing. Judgment is
right,
knowing what's missing in something. You
right,
know what I'm saying?
right,
Because you can judge whether or not it was
right.
there or not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you
But
can blindly
okay,
judge it because you know the standard.
check right there. So at that point, right there, look. So now we go back to science and math, right? Like you say, scientific method. So, right, science is the study of or the knowing of, right? Right? Science in its smallest form, right? It's the knowing of something, the studying of something, right? Because you got political science, you got physical science,
Mm-hmm.
you understand me? So you
Mm-hmm.
talking science is the study of something. So right, that's when people say be self-scientific, meaning you studying yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You a scientist of yourself. You a scientist of, you understand me, the reality, everything around you. So when just like when you said about you look at the dog show or something, right? So they got a word for them. I mean, I don't know the word offhand. The study of dogs might be caninology or something, right? We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we
I'm
can
with
know. You get
We
what I'm
got the
saying? But
context. Yeah, go
right,
ahead.
right. So it would be the knowing of dogs. So somebody who's
Mhm.
there to judge a dog show, well, the prerequisite would be to know dogs, right?
Yeah,
You can't just
yeah.
come and not know the dogs or know anything about canine uh like you said, philosophy or things about them or the
Right.
physiology, right? So your science then would be the science of dogs, but your knowing of it would be, you understand me, the science. That's your science,
Right.
the knowing of the dog. So
So
you
what wisdom
understood, right,
is,
right,
is the upholding of the knowledge or the facts you've attained.
right,
The wisdom is the upholding of that, because the knowledge of the facts, information, and the skills you've acquired are the new standard. Now they're the
right,
standard. So the
right,
wisdom
right,
is the judgment of that standard, whether or not if it's on the curve. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So
Okay. So
then the second part of wisdom, let me throw this in there. The
yeah,
second part of wisdom is soundness of an action or decision with the application of experience, knowledge, and judgment. So that's what it is too.
right.
It's the application of that wisdom, knowledge, and
Yes,
judgment
it
that you
is.
have. So go ahead.
Right. So right there, like you saying, so boom, once you say I know of something, right? So I could say, yeah, well, okay, I know about dogs, but just knowing of them couldn't make me a judge of them, right? Because you understand me, what does my knowledge encompass? Right.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
you could know about feeding them, right? But
Right.
do you know uh, the scope, the full range of dog and dog activity, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I could know everything there is to know about a pit bull or everything
Mm-hmm.
there is to know about this dog. But this person got the wisdom of dogs in general. Well,
Mm-hmm.
they know when the dog put his tail up, when he wag his tail, when he put his tail down, when he put his head down. They know, you understand me? So, like you're saying, the wisdom is a higher tier of just knowing it. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I know Shih Tzus, right? They're curly, blah 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 blah. But now,
Mm-hmm.
like when you see these shows, it motherfucker be a dog whisperer, right? So
Yeah.
he can make even dogs that shouldn't be in the same room together be in the room together.
Right.
You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Dig this.
He's wise in his application of the knowledge. Go ahead.
Right. Dig this. So when we go back to understanding, and part of that definition for understanding, it said an individual perception or judgment. So
Right.
understanding had judgment in there, but it was only from an individual's perspective. So in my opinion, whenever you incorporate knowledge and then you graduate to wisdom, wisdom is a multi-perspective application of perception. So when you have wisdom, you've done it so many ways, you can see it from so many different perspectives. It's not just the understanding, which is a singular perspective.
Right.
It's wisdom is a multi-axis perspective of things once you get to wisdom. You know what I'm saying? That's why it
Right.
takes
Right.
time and trial and error and experience and listening to people and talking and stuff like that,
Right.
to get that multi perspective, because that's where that's what it boils down to. So then if we go from understanding, knowledge, and wisdom, we need to find out what experience is.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like because all this is going to tie into the aggressive pursuit of self-improvement, but we got
Right.
to understand what the roots of it is, because it's going to come from inside of you.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
yes. So experience, let me see right here. Where is it at? Experience. An occurrence that leaves an impression, an encounter or an occurrence that leaves an impression, knowledge and skills acquired by such means as a profession or work, right?
Right. Right.
So I took it one step further, and you know how we be talking about past lives.
There
So
you go.
experience are lives lived, like completed lives lived. Because if you look at it esoterically, you live many different lives, man. You know what I'm saying? In the great works, you're gonna live 8 different lives for sure. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
But like experience are past lives lived. Like you're not that person no more. You're not the person you was in high school, but that
Right.
did leave an impression on you.
Right.
And that
Right.
impression
Right.
is an actual fact for you. So that's knowledge,
right,
you know what I'm saying,
right,
from your
right,
angle, from your perspective.
right.
But it can be applied many ways once you get old enough to trust in the consciousness, that the confidence in your consciousness that you building is going to help you apply it in many shit, and that turns into wisdom. So
Right.
experience is just past lives lived, you know what I'm saying, or
Right.
alternate lifetimes within
Right.
this lifetime, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So like, boom. So we can say that when I was 7, I said something, right? Who knows?
Right.
I could say it again at 14.
Mm-hmm.
Then I could say it again at 21, right?
Right.
But whatever I did at 7 promoted me to 14.
Right.
And what I did at 14 promoted me to 21.
Right.
So then 28-year-old me would have to look back at those three younger me's and be like, now how do I move this forward?
Right.
Right? Because
Mm-hmm.
as you move to those, like you said, those different lifetimes, if you could, they say the macro and the micro, right? As
Mm-hmm.
above, so below. So if we talking past lives, you can't know, or some people will say, yeah, I can see past lives, or I can do
Well,
this.
that's the brooding. That's that
Right.
deep thought. Like you be thinking about stuff that's deep inside of you that you don't even realize. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm just saying from this standpoint, like that brooding that you talking, that's what I'm saying. That's macro, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's macro. But I'm talking micro, because
Mm-hmm.
if you already done this work, right? Whatever that work is for you to brood over millennia, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it would be even a version to say that in this lifetime, if I look back over my 7, 14, 28, and 35-year-old self, right? If I look back over those, I could look over those as millennia.
Yeah, of
You
course.
see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
As
So
lives live.
as
You know what
lives,
I'm saying?
right. So I could say, boom, I did this at this point. I did this. So if I look at it over millennia, then I could say went from 0 to 7 was my first 7,000 years.
If you want to, yeah, you could.
You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? You get
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Right.
you get what I'm saying? Because if I can't realistically say that I can peer into the Akasha, I can microscope it
Yeah. Yeah.
by saying, well, over my first 7 years, how do you feel about that experience? You get what I'm saying? Now I can start delving into that experience and then be like, well, boom, I can see how over the first 7,000 years of existence, we would think childishly.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Oh, yeah.
not saying that it's real or fake, but just saying that, well, your lifetime, if you're talking as above, so below, then your lifetime is a microcosm of the macrocosm.
I dig it.
You get what I'm
I dig
saying?
it.
If
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
if you not saying you, just in general, how people be like, well, I can look and see 7,000. Or honestly, I have never done it, or maybe I have, but I don't recognize it in that way. That's why I'm saying when I was 0 through 7, I could look at that as 7,000 years.
Right.
Yeah. So I
Right.
could say, well, I never seen back when I was Egyptian, but I know based on what I've learned that a hieroglyph is the same as, you understand me? It's supposed to be read by a child and an adult.
But
So
that's what we're doing with this. That's what we're doing with the aggressive pursuit of
just
self-improvement. We're defining a hieroglyph that's the rudiments. If we could get to the root of the aggressive pursuit of self-improvement, then we can get to the root of what they thought too, because the
this is
aggressive
what I'm
pursuit
saying.
of self-improvement is always the same. I don't care what
This
millennium
this
you
what
in.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If I can't see 1,000 years ago, I can see 28 years ago when I was 7.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So whatever is true then, I can bring to the future now, because like I said, hieroglyph was read by a child and an adult. And it would be the same thing, but they would get two different meanings. Because as a child, when your parents tell you eat your food, eat your vegetables, grow big, blah blah blah, well, it's the same now. go to work, do your job, get paid, right? It's the same hieroglyph, but it's got two different meanings. But as a child, it meant one thing, and as an adult, it means another thing, right?
Right.
So
It's all interpretation.
Right. So just like you said, when you have to look at over the whole scope of, you know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Where you at right there when you was reading the definition right there where you was talking
On experience, yeah, the
right,
definition
right,
for
right,
experience,
right,
an
right,
encounter
right,
or occurrence that
right,
leaves an impression, knowledge and skills acquired
right,
by such means as a profession or work.
right.
And then
So
when you talk about work, that's the same, the great
right.
work, you know what I
That's what I'm
mean?
saying. So your life, if you take your life over the work of your life, that's your experience. So I could say that I'm if I go micro or macro, I can say I'm 40 or I can say I'm 40,000.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You
You
understand what
can.
I'm saying?
You
Because,
can. This is America, goddamn it. You can.
because we, like you said, this is your experience. So if you micro your experience or if you macro it, right?
I'm
So
with you. I'm
so
with you.
how do like you said, so how do we get the most out of the experience? That's
Well,
your
look at it this
perspective.
way. Look at it
That's
this
your
way.
perspective.
So,
Yeah.
profession or work. So, I had to take it to what is work.
Right.
You
Right.
remember a few weeks back we was talking about work and worlds, and I was like, when you work,
Right.
you build worlds.
Right.
And in worlds, there's cycles.
Right.
There's sequences of events. You know what I'm saying? So when I looked up the definition of work, it's actively involving. I'm sorry, activity involving mental or physical effort to achieve a purpose, right? That's what work is, an activity involving mental or physical effort to achieve a purpose, right?
Right.
So then, like we talking about pursuit, purpose, improvement, empowerment, right? So we didn't circled it all the way back around, right? So
Right.
to achieve a purpose, what is a purpose? A person's sense of resolve and determination. So listen at that. Purpose is a person's sense of resolve and determination. What
Right.
is resolve and determination? It's pursuit. It's aggressive pursuit of
Right.
self-improvement.
Right. Right.
It's also a purpose is also a requirement, a consideration, a reason for which something is done or created. So right, when you can self-induce purpose into yourself by constantly having an unyielding curiosity, and not being afraid to take risks, to
Right.
be improvement is also improvisation.
Right.
Improvement
Right.
is
Right.
changing your role many times with skill in order to achieve the outcome. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So it's a creative form. It's creation, it's performance, it's production, it's improving, and it's improvisation. It's the same thing, and it's
Right.
taking risks, and it's being
Okay.
constantly curious. Because when you're
So
curious, you have to reapply the scientific method
right.
again, and then there starts the cycle again. So
Right.
it's
Right.
constantly aggressively pursuing self-improvement because it's
Right.
you.
Right. So like, look, boom. I was doing my job, and I'm walking over to a vehicle, and I'm about to, I'm changing tires, just regular stuff, nothing, right? And then I just thought to improve the process. You understand? Like
Right.
it's not nothing deep, but like you saying, it's okay. If I've been doing this a while, now I can keep doing this. It's not bothering me, but for some reason, I just want to improve my process, right?
Right.
So I'm
Right.
like, okay, boom. So just the skinny on it is nothing crazy, but it's just like you saying, it's the urge to improve it, right?
That's critical thinking.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm
That's what I'm
saying?
saying. So it's like, okay, boom. So I got the vehicles and I got to change tires. So I got like 12 vehicles, whatever, right? I got to change tires. So boom, I go to change the tires and I'm like, all right, now I go to change the tires. But I got these paint markers. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and all the tires I need to change, I'm gonna change them. And ones I don't have tires to change, I'm gonna mark them so I can come back and change them. Right? Simple enough, right? But that was an improvement on my regular process. My regular process was I would go measure them you know, 24 millimeter, you know, whatever, 20, regular dimensions, whatever. You got the little tool, you stick it in the tire, shows you the grooves, whatever, right? So I'm going to do it, and so normally I do that. I got my flashlight, and I got the, you know, the tool to measure the depth. I got the depth gauge to measure the threads, how deep the threads are, or whatever. So, so right then, because I'm gonna show you like 4 improvements I did at once, right? So I go to do it, and then I got this. So I'm improving. So I say, well, you know what? I'm gonna take the paint marker, and I'm gonna just mark the ones that's supposed to be changed. If I can't change them, then I'll know it because they're still marked when I come back, right? Because you know, but people, you know, my driver still got to go, you know, do their job or whatever. But I still got to change the vehicle. I still got to change the tires. So I look at the tires that's bad. Those got to be changed right now. The ones that, you know, I can wait for tires to come, I can change those, right? So on my tool to measure them, right, is green, yellow, and red, right? So boom, I got the yellow marker. I just marking them. Some of them coming out good, some of them coming out bad. So right then, right, I went from using the flashlight and the tool to now I'm marking them, right? And then from marking them, I'm standing there, and then I improve the marking process. I say, well, you know what? I can go on Amazon and get a red one, a green one, and a yellow one.
Yeah.
Right? So then while I'm walking down, I'm changing them because now some tires on the back got 4 tires, and on the front is just 2. So on the back of the vehicles is dually, and on the front is 2 tires, right? So now when I go to mark the back tires, right? Because when I say I'm going to mark them, I say, well, how can I mark the ones and know the ones on the inside need to be changed? Because I can't mark them and see them, right? But I can measure them. So what? I say, okay, well, guess what? I'll do on one side, I'll do 1 dot. That's for all the ones on the outside. And then if the ones on the inside need to be a color, right, green, I'll put 2 dots.
Right.
And that means it's good. If it's in the yellow, I'll put 2 yellow dots. And if it need to be changed, I'll put 2 red dots.
That's in the same vein of what we're talking about with the self-improvement, because what you're doing is you're taking the scientific method and you're using critical thought, which is like observation, reasoning, analyzing. And you use the analytics through you've already done this method so many times through scientific method. It's your science, you know what I'm saying? It's your application on a daily, it's how you move. But you leaning out the process by, you know, critically thinking about like, damn, what the fuck, you know, you're analyzing. So analytical thought, critical thought, you know, that's like, I guess that's gonna fall under wisdom. You know what I mean? That's gonna fall under wisdom.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you're saying, that just to improve dramatically, like you can do something simple and it's a dramatic improvement. But you thinking, a lot of people think you got to do something drastic. But that was a simple improvement. I didn't do nothing crazy. I didn't do nothing, but that changed my whole process. Like all I did was get paint markers. And now I can walk up to the tires and know that the inside one needs to be changed or the outside one. So even with that process, if I'm not there, I could tell somebody, I could call up there and tell one of my guys, hey man, all the vans that got 2 dots, 2 red dots, change all the inside tires. I'm just not even deep. If you walk past the vehicle, if it's got 2 red dots, that means the inside tire. 1 red dot means the outside tire.
Yeah, for real.
You see what I'm saying? So, that was just an improvement. It wasn't like I gotta go write this down, or I gotta come up with a 5 step process.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Improvement is improvisation, and
that's where I'm at with it. That
improvisation
improvement was completely improv.
Yeah, improvisation is create, perform, produce. So you created, you perform. Now you're producing a better product. You're producing something faster. You getting that shit. That's what improvement is. Is improvisation. It's understanding the tools that you have that's in front of you. That's what MacGyver was. Remember MacGyver? get this
Right.
nigga a shoebox and
Right.
get this nigga a shoebox and some carrot leaves,
Right.
and he about to motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So it's
But
like it's
look,
all it is
but look,
improvisation.
look, people see that and they'll be like, that's goofy. But the
Mm-hmm.
reality is you wanna be this dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this is how you want your mind to work.
Yeah, purposeful.
Right.
But he understands where the purpose is. That's you got to understand what the teleology of it is, the purpose of a thing. You know, because something can have many purposes. Something could be the purpose of it. Its existence could be for one thing for somebody, but it could be the purpose. That's like one man's trash is another man's treasure. So when you know the purpose of things and how they can be applied through wisdom, you feel me? You know what I'm saying?
But look, but like you're saying though, but think about how much work he put in for him to even see like this.
But some people don't even realize that it's work. Some people think it's fun. Some people just think that they love collecting stamps. And now he know everything about stamps and the presidents. You be like, damn, how you know all that? Be like, I don't know, man. I collect stamps and I work at Walmart. I don't know. But he don't even know the value of what it is that he has because the value of things is so obscured. Like people don't understand the value of things. That's a real because you can't improve. How can you improve on something that you don't know the value of? Or what it means to somebody else. That's why I say we give the meaning to the words we use. We give the meaning to them. And whatever's relevant to us is what we create and make relevant to us. It's not relevant if we don't call it to be relevant. You know what I'm saying? That's the key, man. You got to shave down that shit, you know, and really streamline it.
Right. And like I said, that shit is so crazy because it's like, you know, just thinking creatively like that. Like, like I said, I'm just talking about tires, right? And but you know, thinking masterfully, like you said, like MacGyver. That's masterful. Like it's
understanding.
Funny. Yeah,
the
it's
birth of
funny.
ideas comes from understanding.
Right. But this is what I'm saying. You're saying that somebody can just be in a situation, and his mind is so aware. His mind is so connected to everything around him that it's not no situation is a situation.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
what's the opposite of science? What's the you know what I'm saying? The opposite pole of science. Some people would say magic.
Right.
So if you can't say what the fuck it is, you'd be like, if I can't E equals MC squared that shit, then it was magic. I don't know how the nigga did
it. But if you knew what it was, it'd be science.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A magical metaphysician or a metaphysical magician.
Right. And how do you improve yourself to that point? Like you said, where was you at? You was at the experience, or where was you at? Where was you at in where we was at just now? I mean, we went on.
Yeah, we circled the experience back around to purpose, because experience goes to work, and then work is using your mental and physical abilities to accomplish a purpose, and then purpose is a person's self-determination and resolve. So that goes to self-improvement. So if you don't mind doing the work, then you're gonna accomplish these purposes. You know what I'm saying? And in doing that work, you're gonna have to improv. You're going to have to be many different things. You're going to have to change and want to learn and want to be curious and want to figure it out in order to achieve the goal. You know, that's just like an internal drive. That's like a furnace or a fire that burns inside you. You know, that you can't really teach somebody to be curious, because some people, when you give them something and they take it at face value, that'd be enough. You know what I'm saying? You just tell them, hey, put this over here, and they happy with just putting that shit over there. They don't care why. They don't care what it need to be for. They clocking out at 5. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between somebody that wants to know all the aspects. You know, a boss or a leader, let me say a leader, because boss has negative shit to it. So a leader is 9 times out of 10 going to gravitate knowing what everybody's role is in a place. You know what I'm saying? Not because he's trying to not, you know, just because he feels like it needs to be known, but who could tell him to know that?
Right.
Why is it important for him to know that shit and others
Right.
not? You know, that's something that you really can't predict. You can kind of like try to see where a nigga bloodline come from, like what type of parents he had or what type of upbringing he had, but you can't determine what he's gonna do with the processes, the processing of all his experiences. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna be? I used to say that shit like, I can't give you my understanding of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Even if you did everything that I did at the exact same, you ain't gonna receive it like I received it. You feel me?
Right. Right.
That's just, you know,
as they say, that the internal, eternal fire.
Right. And that's what, remember you said a while ago when we first started reading that book, The User Illusion.
Right.
And you was like friction, and then you said something about friction with thought, like how thought is generated.
Right.
You remember that?
Right. Yeah. I said we were saying that the first is thought, then thought creates friction, friction creates heat, heat creates fire, fire creates light, light creates water, water creates matter.
Right, exactly, man. And that shit is heavy. You know what I'm saying? Because you could say that shit about a lot of stuff. That's how things happen. That's how things are generated. That's the generator, the creator. You feel me?
Right. Well, like you said, so the thought, right? And then thought creates friction.
Thought to motion.
Right.
Thought creates motion, and then motion creates friction. Friction creates heat, and then heat creates light.
Right. And then light creates water, and water creates matter. You see what I'm saying? So from the thought, because once the thought starts moving, it starts creating friction, and friction creates rotation. And rotation is everything. You get what I'm saying? So
them cycles, yeah.
Right. So once the friction, right? Because something is, even when people think, because when you even get to the everything after friction is rotation, right? Because once it starts rubbing against each other, and you like, well, that's up against it. Nah. So why do you lubricate something? That's water is rotation. You see what I'm saying? Because water does what? Water roll down anything. It'll roll across anything. You understand me? So now when you get to water, and we understand that our lives and the reality that we live in is a amphibious existence, right? This all is a rotation. The earth is rotating, the universe is rotating, but it's rotating from the initial thought, right? So the initial thought started, then you got the friction, and then it started spiraling. You get what I'm saying? So and then what? Light rolls, light moves in, you understand me? The light packets. But that's deeper science, and we'll maybe at some point talk about that stuff as well.
Yeah, touch on that, yeah. Because
but
I wrote down, I don't even know, I was just flipping through these notes, and I wrote down right here, light is electromagnetic radiation. So light is a form of radiation, because radiation, everything radiates. It has to move on a flux. It has to move between an axis to create a current, to create a hertz or a movement. You know what I mean? And that's what light is on different frequencies. You got, and all these rays, you got radio waves, gamma. These are radiations. I'm telling you, it's that electromagnetic. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how the Earth works. With the poles. You know what I'm saying? You got the electromagnetic frequencies. That give you, polarity. So. So something has to do with light. That's why we have like the aurora borealis. I was reading in this one book that was fucking with me on it. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to dig a little deeper into that.
Right. So like you're saying, so when we come back to experience now, how do we coalesce all of this into the aggressive pursuit of improvement? How do we see that phrase as more than a phrase? How do we see that? You get what I'm saying? Like all the stuff we just said, now the aggressive pursuit of improvement is, at that point, that's a martial art.
Right. Yeah, it's this, the aggressive pursuit of self-improvement is the surface versus the depths. You know what I mean? That's what we were saying, because not only just looking at the phrase, some people can just look at the phrase and say the aggressive pursuit of self-improvement and run with it with their own definition of aggressive pursuit of self-improvement. But a person like myself or yourself or people that can relate to this, whoever listening to this, are going to go a little bit deeper and maybe basically like we did, define each word. What does aggressive mean? What does pursuit mean? What does improve mean? Because I'm not just going to be some lame out here running around going with the surface level of things of what somebody told me what it meant. I'm gonna have to define it for myself so I can apply it for myself through my understanding, and that's going to birth all types of ideas through understanding. And then from those ideas, trial and error through scientific message, I'm gonna have the knowledge, and the knowledge is going to graduate to the wisdom because I'm gonna have years of applying the knowledge. And that's the aggressive pursuit, you know. It's got to be a part of it.
You matter of fact, we saying it, but you saying it that way changed it for me just now. Now I'm seeing it differently just through this conversation, because now, like you saying, if I block it off like that, the aggressive pursuit of improvement, like you saying, that's 3 distinct forms of motion: the aggressive, the pursuit, the improvement. So now,
and then self, you can't forget self. Got that's all. It's deep right there. Self got it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So this is what I'm saying. So now when if you block it off, because you can have aggressive pursuit, you can have aggressive self-improvement, you can have, you understand what I'm saying? You can have just a general pursuit of self-improvement. You can have just you understand me? You can have each one of these individually, or as my man said, with your powers combined.
Right.
You understand me?
Improvement is empowerment. Improvement is empowerment.
Right. So now when you combine it, the fact that you understand aggressive in its nature, you understand pursuit in its nature, you understand self-improvement in its nature, or each one of these in their time and space. Now, when you put them like you always say, now when you combine these flavors,
you got a recipe now.
Right. Now you're cooking. Now you're back over the stove,
natural
my
philosophy.
boy.
Because you said the nature of something, and that's very important. Because when you know the nature of a thing, and when you're dealing with natural philosophy, that's dealing with a lot of unified theory and the blending of contradictions. You know, opposites into a whole. Like, you know, how do I marry the heavens and the earth? You know, that type of stuff.
Right. So, like, I mean, like you saying, the way you just spun that. You understand me? The aggressive pursuit of improvement, that's a phrase. But then when you break it down and then you, upon yourself, define each pillar of this idea,
man.
You understand me? Well, now that gives you a complete foundation for what you're thinking, not what I'm.
That's what we said. Build it up from the root. It's like I need to understand what I'm dealing with here. It's like you know, you can't just pick up something and think or just. Yes, you can probably wing it, but damn, it's gonna come apart that you don't know about. And you're gonna need to know the details of this shit. So let's look up some understanding, some definitions, and realize what we're dealing with here.
Right. So boom, like you're saying, it's crazy because if we saying it this way, then you got to be like, from the beginning, you got to say, what am I building? You understand me? And so you've been you your whole life, and then now you say, well, I need to be a better me. Now you say you need to be a better you. Okay, cool. Now I could say, well, just go do this. Or I could say, go do that. Or go here, right? But when you sit down and you say, now how do I be a better me? Now you get those building blocks.
Well, that's when you destroy, that's when you can experience our lives that have been lived already. So when you have, like, you know, encounter these encounters, these moments, how can I build a better me? Then part of that other you is dying, and it's gonna be, you're gonna be forever changed. Every breath is a new you.
So boom. So boom, right there. Now, you understand me? Now when you say that, now you got to say, now you don't have to, because like you say, we gotta say that as well. You don't have to see it that way, but it is what it is. I got to say, so I let 7-year-old me sacrifice himself or offer himself to 14-year-old me, or sacrifice, because it could be either way, right? You at
Well,
that point,
it's going to be tied to an event or an occurrence. So maybe
right?
something happens to you at a certain point, and
Yeah,
then you're forever changed at that
right,
moment. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, at that point, when you was this age, and then you did the whatever, and then you learned something, and then you say, okay, well, I need to be better. So
Yeah,
now,
maybe you
so,
fucking touched the stove or some shit and got
right,
burnt, or and I
right,
ain't doing that
right,
shit no more.
right. So you say, well, I got to be better all the way around. I ain't touching
Right, right.
those. Look, this now. Let's use a 7-year-old mentality, right?
Mhm.
I ain't touching no more stoves. I ain't going out. I ain't crossing the street without looking no more. I
That's the
ain't
birth of an idea that comes from
right,
an understanding.
right. So
Understandings are the births of ideas.
you 7-year-old, you like, look, man, I ain't touching no more stoves. When I
Mm-hmm.
go across the street, I'm looking both ways. Look, man, listen. I ain't eating every blackberry I come across. I'm gonna start washing them Jones off.
Right.
I got
Yeah.
you understand me?
Mhm.
I ain't gonna try to sneak all the candy and ice cream I can, because I'm tired of them stomach aches. Look, you understand?
Yeah. Right.
This is the accumulation of a
Mm-hmm.
7-year-old genius. You
Right.
understand me? Because he said, look, man, I need to just be better by the time I get to 8.
And you could just, if you think about it, man, if it's relative to something like that, you know,
Right.
because death is gonna be considered, it's gonna be an evolution. Death is like the culmination of something. So like
Right.
you can have different versions of you die. Like I'm not eating
Right.
that shit no more. So
Right.
that version of you
Right.
died at the table,
Right.
and then you got up from the table, and then you went jet skiing, and you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So it's
Right.
like it can
So that's
happen
what I'm saying.
all day long. You feel me?
Right. So when little buddy say, look, I ain't crossing the street no more without looking, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now he in the streets, right? So he not gonna cross the street without looking no more, right?
Right.
But now he done got a cell phone. So
Mm-hmm.
now he was aware when he made the decision to not cross the street without looking, but now he's been introduced to the cell phone. So now is that awareness has been captured by the cell phone. So now he still crosses the street without looking, but he know to not do it because the 7-year-old him made the decision. But now something else has taken that vision. You see
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
his
So you
instinct.
still he not looking both ways.
Mm-hmm.
You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? But at that time, not looking both ways and crossing the street was synonymous.
Yeah, that's like can't see the forest for the trees, because some
Right,
people just be going through the shit and they not
right,
paying attention to nothing,
right.
man.
So
And it
now,
costs to pay attention.
right.
So
So
niggas
now
would
he
rather,
looked
yeah,
both ways, but then once he looked both ways, he put the phone in front of him.
right,
You
right.
see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
back when he was 7, he looked both ways, and then he looked directly in front of him because that's where he was at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now he still looked both ways, but now something else has captured him. So then when you get older, he'll say, man, you know what? Man, look, man, I ain't gonna be using the phone in front of me no more, man. I'm gonna put that thing to the side. Matter of fact, I'm gonna use the Samsung watch while I'm walking. So now
Right,
I can be aware and I can still be up to date on, you understand me, second to second, minute to minute, occurrences or whatever I need to know in reality. You get what I'm saying?
right.
Because that's an improvement from the previous improvement.
Yeah, it's always an improvement, because
You
improvement is
understand what I'm saying?
empowerment.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So now he's more empowered in the future, but his first improvement was, you know what, man, I ain't touching the stove no more. I ain't got down crossing the street without looking. I ain't eating no more
Yeah.
blackberries
That's
straight up.
the self part of
Right,
self-improvement is heavy
right,
though. That's the main
right,
thing. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right, right, right,
The
right, right,
identity.
right. So every
So making
time,
sure you know who your identity is, and don't identify with your job. You have to identify with yourself. You
right.
know, make sure
So
that you identify with yourself first.
look at this. Just look at this. So
Mm-hmm.
if that's to say that, then to say now that you, whatever age, 40 years old, 50 years old, whatever, that the reality is you will never be as sharp as you was at 7 when you decided to stop touching the stove. You could never be smarter than him.
Right. At
That
that
was
time.
that was the most, that was your pinnacle. That was the peak. That was the epoch.
Damn.
You understand me? Because once he said, you understand me? I ain't doing this no more. That was it. You plateau.
Right.
You understand me? Because after that, it's just a series of staying down with the game buddy laid down. You understand me?
Right.
When the 7-year-old, you was like, look, man, check this out, man. Here's what we finna do.
Yeah.
Every version of you after that followed that man's blueprint.
Yeah, man.
You see what I'm saying?
He had to stay in line though. Shit.
Right? But see, look, but that shows you what? That shows you that what people define as these improvements is not necessarily, like I was saying earlier, it's not major. It's simple. When you first start to improve, it's never going to be no more than that.
Right.
But from that point forward, it's the aggressive pursuit.
Right.
Once you decided not to put your hand on the stove no more, now the level up, because that was it's never going to be no more than that, because at that point, that's life and death. Because you only 7, but you touch that heat, this could burn you to death and be over.
Right.
So every other improvement is going to be based on life and death.
Right. You can look at it as a closed system and an open system. You know, like matter or the physical is going to be the closed system, and the open system is going to be death. It's going to be the chaos that ensues after. Once you release the energies, you feel me?
Right.
But matter is constantly decaying, it's constantly vanishing. You know what I'm saying? That's life. You know what I'm saying? Life is evolving, and you're gonna need to have understandings and application. You're gonna have to constantly improve throughout life, because life is constantly deteriorating, and you know, it's just constantly degenerating. But you know, once you do all that work, then when death occurs, then the evolution occurs, because now you can process all that information that you went throughout the life. You know, it's easy to make your life easy to live and stuff like that. So it's important to do that too.
But what I'm saying is, when he touched that stove, that was it. And everything else was based off of that simple improvement. Like, look, man, I'm not going out like this. You see what I'm saying?
That's the death of that little nigga and the birth of a new evolved young man that ain't touching nothing hot. Like, bro, you gonna make sure you check
in whatever version it is. that means, you know what I'm saying? When don't be hanging out with them, don't be going here, don't drink and drive, that's the same thing. That's the same hieroglyph.
That's like a very primal base experience level though. You know what I'm saying? There's no really higher level cognition application there. That's at the rudiments of the shit. That's like elemental shit. But when you get into the higher combinations, when you get into that alchemical lab and you start blending shit together, then you're gonna start dealing with some different shit, you know. Because when you touching something, that's just like basic sensory, how it burns, you know. That's like a primal
But
level.
what I'm saying is, that's what sets you on that path. And everything else is a higher form, is a higher pursuit, is a more aggressive form. But that primal right there, touch, boom, it sparks you. Say, okay, boom, shit is real.
Yeah.
You understand me? But before this moment, I've been eating cereal, watching TV, giggling and shit. I touched this stove.
I didn't know the ways of the world.
Right. I touched that stove. It's a cold world, man. It's a cold world, man. You understand me? It's serious business. You understand? So to see it that way is to understand that from that point on, you've been on the aggressive pursuit. Because just touching the stove has now taken on, like you said, so many experiences. And touching the stove is the same as what? It's the same as putting on your seatbelt. It's the same as, you understand me? It's the same hieroglyph. It's the same one. You could fancy it up all you want, but like, you know, you remember like you got a granddaddy or uncle who say, boy, put your hand on that stove, boy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you was like, what do you mean? That ain't no stove. Said, all right, boy, go put your hand on that stove, boy. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Right? You was like, man, I'm finna go, man. I'm finna go over here, man. I'm finna do this. I'm finna do that. And your uncle's like, all right, boy, go ahead and put your hand on that stove, boy, and see. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, bad experiences happen when you know what I'm saying,
right,
when you don't know. But
right,
that's where the understanding comes in.
right, right. So look, man, that was good. We're gonna keep that one. And we're gonna come back and we're gonna touch on it again, and then we're gonna get into the user illusion.
Yeah, that's a win. Shit, I'm with it, man. I
All
thought
right,
that was pretty productive right there. You
right
know
on,
what I'm
man.
saying?
So look, to sum it up, put your hand on that stove, boy.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, man. Any other event, like we say all the time, man. Hey, man, stand by your work.
Always on time, my nigga.
Right on.
All right, peace.